My name is Ian. Welcome to Khali Yoga Center. My student today is Chauncey, and we are exploring side-facing wide-legged forward fold. In Sanskrit, Prasarita Padottanasana. All right, let's get into it. Side-facing, wide leg, forward fold. It's basically all in the name here. So Chauncey's facing sideways on his mat. His legs are out wide and he's in a forward fold. So that's the broad stroke form of the pose. Then alignment wise, Chauncey's feet are on 12 o'clock facing forward. His legs are out wide and his upper body is hanging forward over the legs. Then the action of the pose, Chauncey is pressing down through the center of each heel. The outer edges of his feet are anchored to the mat, and the ball mounds of the big toes are pressing down. So you've got this strong foundation, and then the arches of the feet are lifting up, almost like suction cups on the ground, pulling energy up into the legs. And he's got a slight softness in his knees so the legs aren't locked out. He's got an engagement of the quad muscles pulling in and up. And then up at his hips here, he's lifting the tailbone, the sits bones to the sky. And then from that tilt of the pelvis, he's got this long line down the spine. The neck is relaxed and the head is heavy. Now, a few options that we can work with the placement of the hands. Chauncey can have his hands underneath his shoulders to help support here. He can crawl his hands through his legs toward the back and pull his chest deeper into the fold. And another option, Prasarita Padottanasana C, Chauncey can bind his hands at his lower back. And then with that bind, he can pull the knuckles up over the head and get a deeper stretch in the shoulders while he's folding forward. Now, a few places that alignment and action in the pose can go a little offline and common misalignments that happen, it often starts down at the foundation, the base of the posture. So one place that will lose alignment is that the feet will either turn out or turn in. Most commonly, I see the feet turned out here with the toes wider than the heels. And that can create a compression in the lower back and a hugging in on the sits bones. So when Chauncey lines his feet up, he'll turn the outer edges of the feet so that they're parallel with the outer edges of the mat. And that creates an opening as the heels open a bit there, the sits bones open more, and that creates less compression in the lower back and more space for release down the spine line. Working up into the legs, another common misalignment is just simply locking out the knees. So when you clock back into what could be hyperextension for some folks or just locking the joints out, that relies more on the structure of the bones in the joint to support the body versus the muscles surrounding the joints engaging to support the structure. So softening the knees a touch allows the muscles here, the quad muscles pulling in, the calf muscles engaging, pressing down into the heels. All that action in the legs supporting the knee helps rather than locking the joints out, which also can create some instability in the rest of the pose. Now, with the locking out of the knees, one other thing that can go misaligned there is often when the knees are locked out, the weight will rock back into the heels. So we're losing the full purchase on the ground that the feet have access to when we're aligned. So with a softening of the knees, Chauncey can shift his hips forward slightly, and that way the hips are right in line with the feet. Aligned that way then allows the feet to carry more weight in both the ball mounds of the feet and the centers of each heel. So he's got that full grounding power to pull in and up from the legs to the hips into the core. Yeah, and one thing to also mention is that from side-facing wide-legged forward fold, there are options to get into stuff like straddle splits. You can go there from wide-legged forward fold. Often folks will use that as a transition into tripod headstand from Prasarita Padottanasana. And you can check out some of our other pose breakdown videos to check out those poses to start exploring where you can go from side-facing wide-legged forward fold. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you on the mat.